So does anyone in the class have any questions? Yes, Drew.
I have a question about Explora Journeys. Everyone keeps talking about how amazing the food is. Could you tell me a little bit about the dining options on board Explora 1 and Explora 2?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me explain. All right, so let's start at the beginning with breakfast. There are 3 main dining options on board. The first one we'll talk about is Rouge, which is your only seated option for breakfast. It's your typical main dining room experience. Here's where you'll get that typical breakfast fare. You'll have pastries, you'll have French toast, pancakes, some lighter bites, and a lot of plant-based options. But at Rouge, if you want that special treat, go for the Rouge signature, which is egg, spinach on brioche, and topped with caviar. Next up is Emporium Marketplace. About a dozen stations from which to choose. The great thing about Emporium Marketplace is that you do not need to worry about sharing tongs with the fellow passengers because it is assisted serving style here. You can get egg dishes, pastries, some more savory options, meats, all high quality, lots of things to choose from here. And then lastly, Crema Café. Crema Café is mainly a coffee bar, your typical coffee shop, some pastries, and lots of coffee and espresso-based beverages. Crema Café, you can stay there and eat or take the food to go. So we have Rouge, Emporium, and Crema Café. Now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Andrew. He'll go over the lunch options.
Thank you, Dr. Diana. So for lunch, you have Emporium Marketplace, which, as my colleague has told you, is essentially Explora Journeys' version of a buffet. There's, again, about a dozen stations, and for lunch, just like for dinner, there's a really robust selection. So you got to check out the pizza. They have different pizzas every day. It rotates. They have a pasta station with fresh handmade pastas, and again, the choices rotate daily. There's a wok of the day at the Asian wok station. There's always a rotisserie meat, and then dozens of other options. There's also a burger bar, so you can get your more traditional hamburgers, and lots of salads and other lighter, healthier choices as well. You've got Crema Cafe, which again is the coffee shop. At lunch, they bring out little sandwich bites, little bite-sized sandwiches as well, and some other pastries. Of course, you can still get coffee drinks. Sakura is the Pan-Asian restaurant, I guess is how you describe it. Definitely has a Japanese focus. So this is one of the specialty restaurants on board, although it's included in the fare. It is only open for lunch on port days, importantly. And Sakura again has a Japanese focus, but they also have some dishes that are Chinese and Vietnamese and Thai, but they have a big sushi menu. And at lunch, it's a slightly more limited menu, but again, there's lots of sushi options as well as a number of appetizers and mains. Yacht is, again, a specialty restaurant. It has this sort of like retro Mediterranean yacht club feel is what they're going for. It's only open for lunch on sea days. So Sakura and Yacht kind of alternate port days, sea days, which one is open. They're going to have a slightly limited menu, but it's choices that are Greek, Italian, Spanish, North African. At lunch, highly recommend. They have these kefta fritters that are just beautiful. I'll let Dr. Diana walk you through dinner.
Yes, Drew, do you have a comment?
Isn't this the point in the YouTube video where you're supposed to ask the audience to smash that like button and to subscribe to Calling All Ports and to drop a comment below?
Yes, you're correct. Thanks for mentioning that, Drew. All right, so for dinner, we have all of the restaurants available. Rouge, French-inspired, closest to what you would call a main dining room experience. Dover sole, lobster thermidor, ossobuco, risotto. Yacht, Mediterranean cuisine. One of the highlights here is a floating island dessert. Trust me, it's delicious. Rouge and Yacht, you do not need reservations for typically, although you may be asked to book ahead depending on the capacity of your cruise. But fear not, even if you don't get a booking, there are always walk-in tables available. Marble & Co. is one of the specialty dining options included in the price. Typical steakhouse fare. Vegetarians probably won't have any dishes to eat here, but it is really exceptional steak. Sakura, Pan Asian. Check out the extensive sushi menu as well as the extensive sake menu, as well as other dishes on offer. With Sakura and Marble & Co., you're typically afforded one reservation per cruise. And depending on the capacity, it might be very strict. Anthology is the extra pay option. This is where Frank Gehringer, the executive chef, gets to shine. It is pricey. Depending on the cruise, it could be between $150 and $200 USD per diner. If you have extra onboard credit, go for that one. And then Emporium Marketplace, which is the casual dining option. It is the closest thing to the buffet, open every single night. And this is not your typical buffet. Dozens of stations. You can get oysters, caviar, lobster, pizzas, homemade pastas. The list is very extensive. Now, a lot of people wonder about the dress code. The great thing is about Explora, it is a very elegant resort casual. In Rouge and Anthology, you cannot wear t-shirts or you cannot wear sleeveless shirts or shorts, and that is about it. You do not need to bring suits. You do not need to bring jackets. You can wear short sleeve polo shirts. You can wear very casual clothing, and it's totally okay. So dress code, very, very relaxed. All right, I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Andrew to talk about the snacks and the light bites on offer at Explora.
So in addition to your traditional breakfast, lunch, and dinner services, there's various other food items available throughout the day. And so there's snacks, for instance. There's also afternoon tea. I'll get to that in a moment. But you have Crema Café, which is open throughout the day. It has little breakfast bites. It has little lunch bites. But then also if you maybe want something in the mid-afternoon after Emporium has closed, you can always get those little sandwiches at Crema Café. So again, pastries and little sandwiches in addition to your coffees available throughout the day. Up on the pool deck, so just outside of Emporium Marketplace, there's the Gelateria and Creperie, which again is something that you can pick up in the midday and afternoon, so you can get your gelato. They'll do milkshakes and the like, and they'll do crepes into the late afternoon. If you miss the Emporium Marketplace lunch service, they do keep the burger station open into the late afternoon, so you can always go in and get a burger. And there's a few other grilled items that they have available there. Explora Lounge has snacks in the afternoon, although I will say it's supposed to have snacks. I never did actually see the service area there, even though I did look for it. But there's supposed to be little light bites available up in Explora Lounge. Also up in Explora Lounge is afternoon tea, which they have every day at 4 p.m. And I'm talking every day. Port day, sea day, doesn't matter. There's always afternoon tea, and it is exquisite. It's your traditional English-style afternoon tea with sandwiches, scones, pastry. They also have loose leaf teas, quite a wide variety of really high-end teas. And then there's your in-suite dining, which is available 24 hours, quite an extensive menu. And I don't think you're going to go hungry on Explora Journeys.
All right, so how's everyone feeling? We all good?
Whoa.